We're hitting on 71% of our college basketball bets. I've got 3 more that you need to take today for March Madness. Before we get to today's picks, let's take a quick look at the scoreboard. Thursday picks updates are not in yet because Michigan game is ongoing at the time of taping this, but we did hit on Gonzaga, did not hit on Yale to cover. The ones that we did have that count towards our scoreboard from Wednesday night, Pistons minus 5.5 versus the Heat did not go. We're at 500 on NBA bets, which stinks. And Mount St. Mary's plus 2.5 versus American connected. Xavier minus 3.5 versus Texas connected. So currently with a 32-13 record in college basketball, 8-8-1 in the NBA, 41-25-1 overall, good for 62.12%. Let's dive in. Let's talk picks for Friday. The first one that I like, but I don't love. St. Mary's minus 4.5 versus Vanderbilt. Most of my motivation for taking this was seeing how Gonzaga played against Georgia. Georgia and Vanderbilt, back end of the SEC, one of the last few SEC teams that got in. They did some nice things this year, but nothing super recognizable. And we called out and we picked Gonzaga correctly, and they smoked Georgia. It wasn't even close. Gonzaga and St. Mary's battled it out the whole year in the West Coast Conference. They split with one another, and Gonzaga ended up winning the conference. St. Mary's actually finished with a higher regular season standing overall record in the West Coast Conference. They were the number 1 regular season team this year in the WCC. So they were better than Gonzaga, but Gonzaga just finished off the year by winning the conference tournament. St. Mary's is worth investing in at 4.5 here against Vandy. I feel a little iffy on it because there's not a lot of numbers that totally support this, except for the fact that St. Mary's is 14th in rebounding and Vanderbilt is just 168th in rebounding. We talk a lot about how rebounding is important. They're both very similar shooting teams. So I'm going to take that little bit of an edge, and the fact knowing that Gonzaga showed they can compete with SEC teams and that St. Mary's is a pretty similar caliber squad. Next one, UNC minus 2.5 versus Ole Miss. I feel really good about UNC right now. Again, I know everybody was pissed off that they made the tournament, but they're still going to show up and compete. I mean, they feel galvanized right now. They played against San Diego State like I thought that they would, which was, all right, you guys all think that we don't deserve to be here? We're going to show you. And they did. I don't think Ole Miss is a very good team also. I think they're one of the overrated SEC teams that has a decent resume that pushed their way in. But some of the supporting evidence that we have, UNC is 77th in rebounding. Ole Miss is only 270th. UNC is 6th in three-point shooting percentage. Ole Miss is 159th. UNC is 33rd in shooting efficiency. Ole Miss is 133rd. All shooting statistics, UNC is vastly better than Ole Miss. The only metric that this pick doesn't make sense is KenPom. Ole Miss is graded higher on KenPom than UNC is. Not by a large margin, but by enough that it kind of perks up your attention. I still think that this UNC squad is pissed off. And for a small 3-point margin like that, give me the Tar Heels. Last one, Memphis plus 1.5 versus Colorado State. I know that Colorado State is this potential Cinderella hot team late coming from the G5 or mid-major, however they call it in college basketball. I'm a college football guy. I make that mistake. Apologies for that. I know that a lot of people keep saying that Colorado State is the better team in this matchup. Heck, they're favored. They're the lower seed, but they're favored. Memphis is 50th in rebounding. Colorado State is 173rd. Memphis is 18th in three-point shooting. Colorado State is 53rd. I also feel like we're riding off of the hype for Colorado State based on the late season momentum that they had. They probably wouldn't have gotten into the tournament. They're one of these teams that wouldn't have gotten into the tournament had they not gone on this late season run that they did. So I'm sticking with Memphis. I think that they're going to cover plus 1.5. At the very least, if they lose, it gives us a little bit of a cushion. Folks, let us know below in the comments who else you're taking today. Hit that like button and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.